Okay, let's go ahead and build the flying surfer dude. You'll notice that these holes out here that have been routed out, these are for a balance point. Once all the electronics are on and everything, you should be able to hold your fingers here and they should balance straight. You'll notice the servo holes have notches here on the back side of them, and that's to allow for the wire, and that way your servos are in the right position with the wires facing in this way. Run some tape across the tops of the elevons. Like I've overlapped this. You just don't want to overlap these three. It's fine to overlap these two holes in the center. Take your razor knife and poke these two little holes out and cut a slit down the middle here. We'll flip it over and we'll cut this excess tape off. On the edge. You can take your elevons and fold that little piece of tape that's left over where you cut the middle out, and that takes care of the elevons. Locate your three stringers. You notice there are two that are identical. They have the smaller fins. They're going to go on either side of the larger one, which is here, and that goes in the center. Let's flip the bore over and let's put some glue here right down the edge of the stringer. This is probably the most important part. Starting at the back end here, you want to start inserting the tabs. Work your way up to wherever the tabs line up. You'll notice that it skips a few tabs. And when you get up to this point here where your center of gravity part is, you want to bend the nose down and insert the next two tabs. They've been lengthened for that reason. It actually been pushed forward so that you could do this. The whole object behind this is to allow for this to bend. So just hold that for a minute until it dries. You need to bend on the front nose of this surfboard or it will not fly right. So that's a bit extreme, but it should seat itself. You can see here how I have a bend basically right here up. It bends up a little bit. Just hang the board back over the edge like we have here, about where the center of gravity is. And we'll do the two side stringers as well. So apply glue. Once again, working from the back. You'll notice that these two tabs need to be pushed, the nose needs to be bent down a little bit in order to insert these tabs. And that will just help strengthen that and keep it in that bowed position. Let's do the same thing with this one. You may have to wiggle this, stretch or pull this a little bit as you're trying to get it in position, but you'll see how it goes when you have it in hand. Like I said, something like that. That's actually a bit extreme, to be honest. I'm going to try to bend this down just a hair. Well, some of you guys might want to go back through and run a bead down here as well on the edge. I'm going to do a little bit right here on the front, because these, they're so skinny when they get to the front here that I feel like it needs some type of extra strength. Okay, that's good. So this is what it looks like right now. Alright, let's set that to the side right now. You want to locate these two parts here. You're going to go ahead, what you want to do, they basically sit on the surfboard like this, on the nose, and align with that tab and a line in the back. We know that the nose is bent a little, so I'm just going to curl these up just a hair. Not all the way back, but just about there, basically. Probably not even necessary, but I figure I'll do it anyway. Now remember, when you're setting this down, it has fins now, so you need to overlap the table. On these, we're just going to apply glue, a thin bead of glue, on the entire length of this. This will act like a strengthener, and it'll also act like an airfoil. And later you can go back and sand it if you'd like. So go ahead and just put that tab on, and then go down here and tack the back in place so you can work your way back down, moving this into its proper position. Okay, that looks good. Okay, we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Now the object here, when you're finished, is you'll have a spot here for your 3/8 motor mount. You might have to, it's kind of a forced fit, but that's fine. I might have to cut it out a little bit. Okay, the next thing you want to locate is the actual surfer, the leg and the arm. I want you to notice, let's do a little dry run here. You want to line up the legs. You'll notice that this tab is smaller than this bottom tab here. It's supposed to be that way. So just run glue on the back here. And it's nothing structural really, so you don't need a whole lot. I just start down here. I'm lining up the foot and then working the leg down like this, and then lining up the back finally. For the arm, it's a little bit different, as the arm basically sits in here like this on an angle. You want to line up this back side and this back here, and that'll line the whole thing up for you. So let's do that. I'm lining up right here under the arm here and in the back here. That'll give us the angle we need for the arm to look proper. And when you're finished, you should have a result somewhat like that. Okay, let's set him to the side. Okay, you want to grab your stand parts, and basically the curved area goes to the front, and they slide into these tabs here, so that when it stands up, this gives you an area for your surfboard to sit on so your prop's not hitting the ground when it's just sitting there being displayed. Okay, the stand's complete. Surf's up. That's good. Let's put that to the side. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention is that I have a couple accessories. You could have a mohawk here if you want. So you could have a mohawk kind of surfer guy. Looks more like a Roman. Or you have the spiked mohawk, which looks kind of cool. Okay, at this point we have our surfer, we have our surfboard. You can see the corresponding tabs here line up with these corresponding tabs here. Glue the bottom of the tabs on this particular design as well. Alright, you might want to run a bit of glue here on the side to strengthen this front foot. So you'll be holding just like this. Look down the front of it. A lot of times the arm wants to angle. So let me just look down there. Yep. So I'm just taking the arm and just barely bending it a little bit to get it lined up, and that looks good. You have your wooden motor mount here. One thing to notice is where the battery is. Have it all the way up to the front. The speed controller goes on the, if you're looking at it, the battery goes to your left. So that way when you get the torque of the motor spinning, it'll kind of cancel the torque. It needs to go to the left, but it also needs to be as far to the center as you can get it. The arms are to the top, which allows for the wires to be coming out of the back there. Poked a small hole here to allow for the antenna wire. You might not be able to see. And also there's a knot in this middle stringer here, and I hope you enjoy the design, to allow for you to put one of your servo wires through to meet the receiver.